Psalm 37. Fret not yourself because of evildoers. Be not envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like the grass and wither like the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will act. He will bring forth your righteousness as the light and your justice as the noonday. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way, over the man who carries out evil devices. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. For the evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord shall inherit the land. In just a little while, the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there. But the meek shall inherit the land and delight themselves in abundant peace. The wicked plots against the righteous and gnashes his teeth at him. But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he sees that his day is coming. The wicked draw the sword and bend their bows to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those whose way is upright. Their sword shall enter their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. Better is the little that the righteous has than the abundance of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous. The Lord knows the days of the blameless, and their heritage will remain forever. They are not put to shame in evil times. In the days of famine, they have abundance. But the wicked will perish. The enemies of the Lord are like the glory of the pastures. They vanish. Like smoke, they vanish away. The wicked borrows, but does not pay back. Borrows, but the righteous is generous and gives. For those blessed by the Lord shall inherit the land, but those cursed by him shall be cut off. The steps of a man are established by the Lord when he delights in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be cast headlong, for the Lord upholds his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet have not seen the righteous forsaken, for his children begging for bread. He is ever lending generously, and his children become a blessing. Turn away from evil and do good. So shall you dwell forever. For the Lord loves justice. He will not forsake his saints. They are preserved forever, but the children of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell upon it forever. The mouth of the righteous utters wisdom, and his tongue speaks justice. The law of his God is in his heart. His steps do not slip. The wicked watches for the righteous and seeks to put him to death. The Lord will not abandon him to his power or let him be condemned when he is brought to trial. Wait for the Lord and keep his way, and he will exalt you to inherit the land. You will look on when the wicked are cut off. I have seen a wicked, ruthless man spreading himself like a green laurel tree. But he passed away, and behold, he was no more. Though I sought him, he could not be found. Mark the blameless, and behold the upright. For there is a future for the man of peace, but transgressors shall be altogether destroyed. The future of the wicked shall be cut off. The salvation of the righteous is from the Lord. He is their stronghold in the time of trouble. The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in him. Thank you for the standing of the reading of God's word. Y'all may be seated.
So, I'm not John. My name's Fred Lybrand. There's a little housekeeping we need to do up front. First, I dress like this because I didn't want to be mistaken for wearing skinny jeans. So I'm not on staff. Second thing, and that'll hit you on the way home too. So, so this is good. So the staff complains sometimes about this early service. Like, you're too German. You're too quiet, right? Now, let me tell you, we who preach or teach do not at all like heckling. Not good. Now, silence is almost heckling, okay? So if I say something funny, laugh. If I say something not funny, smirk or something like that. The other thing is, if you can go to sleep while I speak, you earned it. So it's a challenge. And I triple, double dog dare you to sleep while we're looking at the Word of God. And I'm going to read the Cat in the Hat to you. So, I grew up in Alabama, and Dad was in the legislature. He was a lawyer, and he was in the House of Representatives. He was in the Senate, and so I grew up as a PK, a politician's kid, and we're all, always trying to be on our best behavior or not get caught. Either was fine with Dad. If you didn't get caught, that was the same as not doing it, the way we were brought up. But in politics and in that game of politics, I watched some pretty evil, harsh things, real enemy stuff, things where people would fabricate stories about my dad and what he did unethically and with money and all the rest of the things you can imagine. And even in my life, in the pastorate over a 25-year period, I experienced similar things. I had people rumoring that I'd taken one of my staff guys who's like 4 inches taller than me. Doesn't mean he's very tall, but 4 inches is still 4 inches. And I'd picked him up and shoved him in a wall. I would have paid money to see that, Or that I absconded money and I bought things for myself. And in time, a couple of dozen different people at times went to lunch and stopped me out and about and deeply and profoundly apologized. Those weren't the things I was doing. I do incompetent things. I'm not trying to do evil things. But you go through life and you get accused falsely and you get attacked. And we're going to look at a psalm and figure out what you do about that. One of my dads, I used to ride around with him and campaign. So we'd ride around and campaign, and one of his famous stories, I can't remember if I told you, but it's been a while, was he liked to talk about this fella that sold his mule to another fella back in the day, using mules to farm and stuff, and maybe they still do. But he sold him this mule, and after about 2 weeks, he bumped into him in town and said, that mule's worthless. You said it'd work all day long. He said, well, I don't understand that. It always worked for me. He said, well, I don't know what to do. He said, let me come out and look at it. So he comes out to the man's place, and he looks at the mule, looks at the front, and all the back, and all the rest, and it's in the traces, ready to go. And he goes over to a pile, and he picks up a 2x4. And he goes up to the mule, and he goes, whop! Right there, right on the hard part of his head, but between the eyes. And then he threw it down and gets up and goes, going. And the mule starts going. And he turned to the guy and said, you just have to get its attention first. And that's what we're fixing to do. John, when he called me, said, pick a psalm, any psalm, preach. And his last words, and he was just messing with me, he said, don't preach heresy. Okay? He did not say, don't preach controversy. It's going to have to be specific with me, right? So, if I told him, I said, look, if I teach a heresy, I got reasons for it. I've got some verses, okay? It'll be an accident. Psalm 37, 40 verses. This may be a record. We're going through all of them. You're going to understand this whole thing. And I'm using up time on this, the cat in the hat, just wait. But this psalm is incredibly relevant for our day and time. I don't know if you're aware of the landscape out there, but in the political world, there are people on what's called the right, and there are people who are on what's called the wrong by the right, the left, right? And these people don't seem to like each other. I was a little traumatized this morning. I made the mistake of looking at the news, saw an article that Ron Swanson wouldn't talk about politics on the set with Dennis Quaid because he didn't want to get in a fight. Because he said, Quaid is kind of over there with MAGA, and he their whole policy is going to lead us into austerity. I mean, no money, and it's all fascism, and that's where the world is. You know, there's something weird in us that just deep down, some of you, didn't it feel good when you saw Trump in handcuffs? And some of you, doesn't it feel good to think maybe in the weeks ahead you'll see Obama in handcuffs? Yeah, there's this weird justice thing going on in us. We do it in movies all the time, all the time. Don't we like the bad guy to get it? Oh, good, he melted, blew up, something. You know, Lou, a few weeks ago, or I guess last week, chided Andy that he had said, I got to call it out as a terrible, terrible thing that he said his favorite movie was, and I can't remember what it was, Barney Goes to London or something, I don't know. And then Lou said, no, the best one is My House is a Zoo, or yeah, we bought a zoo. Like, really? So, the best movie is It's a Wonderful Life. It all works, right? Amen. Thank you. Appreciate you jumping in there. Because you've got this bad guy, Potter, and you got the good guy, right? And so we're this whole conversation, Jimmy Stewart and his whole role in this is he just wants to leave town and get rich, right? In no particular order, but leave town and get rich. And he can't ever leave town. He can't even go up to the falls and skinny dip. He cannot leave the border of the town, and he's battling this evil guy, Potter. And you just hate him more and more and more. And, if you know that it's like Drew Barrymore's great-grandfather, you could like him less or more, depending. But, it's like all these things are in play, good and evil and bad, and he wakes up, and it's a wonderful life, and it makes sense. And Potter never gets what he wanted. And there's some justice, but we still, in our day and age, we still wanted him to, some Terminator ending, not just, he kept the money and was a bitter old man. David is there with us. Psalm 37 is a wisdom poem. It reads more like Proverbs. Now, I look at the landscape, and what I'm worried about is we have people who have, I think on both extremes, they have Trump derangement syndrome. Have you heard of this thing? So I think there are two versions of it. There is the, do the right over here for you. So there is the pro-Trump derangement syndrome, MAGA, mega, right? And then there's the anti-Trump derangement syndrome. And the way this works is everything they do is evil because they're evil, and everything they do is evil because they're evil. Reminds me of my fraternity days. We always had these secret meetings, and there was we had to vote on things, and sometimes spending money or doing so. I don't know what it was, but in these meetings I didn't pay attention that much, but I had a fail-safe way to vote because there was a guy that we called Tojo. He's with the Lord now, God bless him. But I didn't really find Tojo an attractive human being for my morals. I just thought there was something going on in him that was rotten. I'm sure I was judgmental and wrong. But I just simply asked how Tojo voted, and I voted the opposite. It worked out pretty well, If you want to get rich, that's what you do. You study poor people, do the opposite. It usually turns out okay, right? So when we look at this polarity of what you're about, we lose sight of the fact that not only are we stuck in the middle, so both sides can hate us, most of us, if we actually talk to them, but we lose sight of God in this. And it really distracts us and destroys us. What I'm going to do this morning is show you David's solution. So if you get upset about politics and the bad guys, whichever side you're on, and you get angry and irritated, David is about to free you from that for the rest of your life. If you'll hang in there, pay attention, you're going to get free. Because freedom is right here for us. When we look at this psalm, we need to keep in mind our own experiences. It's not just about this stuff out there, but your own life. Look, there are divorces, right? And there are business deals that go awry. And there are kids that turn out bad, and parents that turn out odd. When you look at the struggles in life with people that turn out to betray you or turn out to be enemies, what do? You get mad? Do you rage? Do you, try to let it go? Get even? Get bitter? Those are all the things we can do. But what we're going to see here is that David shows us a different way out. Now, before I really explain what we're doing or really put this together, yes, we're going to go through all 40 verses. It's all going to make sense. Look, here's the problem. Most people approach this in the wrong way. You act like engineers. And engineers, God love you all. You're head of lawyers, don't worry about it. But engineers, God bless them, they tend to overcomplexify things. Made up a word for them, right? They overcomplexify. And we also can look at the Word of God and make it so complicated that we kind of miss what's going on. So to do that, I want to explain to you how to study the Bible just real quick, and then we're going to apply it, and then we'll be done. So, how do you study the Bible? How do you do it? Well, what we tend to do is we tend to read, and we read in a linear fashion. Do not get upset because of evildoers. If you want to read it really slow, you go D-O-N-O-T-G-E-T. You can break it down. That linear way of reading is fine and important, but it's not great for study. Because what's going on is it's going so slow and you're not putting the story together. It's just looking at the linear parts. That's why you doze off, or that's why you get confused. You stop and go backwards. If you have the gift of wanting to look at the whole, or like I have, ADOS, attention deficit, squirrel, my disorder, right? You have an advantage because you can be lateral, and that's the thing you want to do. You're not trying to read it, you're trying to pattern it. You're trying to go lateral. You're trying to figure out, how does this thing fit together? Well, to do that, all you need are like 4 basic questions. Question number 1, who all is involved? Number 2, what are they all doing? Number 3, what's the point? And number 4, why does it matter? If you'll take those questions and apply them to passages, I'll show you here. Try to think of something that we could demonstrate with. So I have 11 grandchildren, so I get some practice reading. This is a book called The Cat in the Hat. So the sun did not shine. It was too wet to play, so we sat in the house all that cold, cold, wet day. I really don't have time to show you the pictures, but you'll get the point. I sat there with Sally. We sat there, we two, and I said, how I wish we had something to do. Too wet to go out and too cold to play ball. So we sat in the house. We did nothing at all. So all we could do was sit. And we did not like it, not one little bit. Bump! And then something went bump. How that bump made us jump. We looked, then we saw him step on the mat. We looked, we saw him, the cat in the hat, and he said to us, why do you sit like that? I know it's wet, the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny. I know some good games we could play, said the cat. I know some tricks, said the cat in the hat. Lots of good tricks. I'll show them to you. Your mother will not mind at all if I do. And Sally and I did not know what to say. Our mother was out of the house for the day. So, what we want to think about with the cat in the hat is who all's involved. Okay? So who else is involved in the story? There's the cat. It could be who or what, depending on the passage. We got the cat. We got Sally and her brother, the narrator, right? We got a fish, the voice of reason. And we got thing 1 and thing 2, right? So those are the basic characters. So what are they doing? Well, you go back through and you go, well, the kids are bored, and the kids are kind of entertained and scared. Entertained and scared. Oh, there's Mom. She's out of the picture, but she's heading back home. So, entertained and scared, entertained and scared. The cat is entertaining. The fish is the voice of reason. Don't do that. Put me down. Quit balancing me on an umbrella, in my bowl. And thing 1 and thing 2, they just want to have fun and do games or whatever they do. And that's what they're all up to. So the cat's trying to make fun, but things fall, they make a mess, right? And the kids are vacillating between enjoying it and scared. The fish is very clear, wrong way to go. Thing 1 and thing 2 are happy and then kind of sad, they go back in the box, right? So what's the point? Well, the point is that there's a balance between having fun and cleaning up your messes, because you may not know the end of the story, but let me just assure you, Mom's on the way home, it's a mess. He comes in with a machine, cleans it all up, looks pristine, right? So the point is, balancing for kids between play and messes is a little tricky. But really, if you will play hard, not be ridiculous messy, but also clean up your mess, you're probably going to be okay, whether or not the cat in the hat shows up. So what does it matter? What difference does it make? And what it matters is that if kids can take that message, they can learn to be responsible with those conflicting things they feel in their life, between wanting to have fun and not wanting to get in trouble. And sometimes we don't offer them that balance either. However, that's not our message. Our message is to apply the same game to understanding this passage. And what we've got in Psalm 37 are 3 major characters. There's the wicked, right? And there is the righteous, right? And then there's God. Those are the 3 things, the 3 players. So who are the wicked according to this passage? Who are these people? Evildoers, in my version, I use New American Standard. You'll have the ESV up there. The wicked, the evildoers. And then there's the righteous. So the evildoers basically are people who do evil. If I go too fast, you just let me know. So they're people who do evil. And the righteous are people who do... Right, exactly. You've read this before. They do right. They are those that belong to God pretty clearly, and they do right. But that's how they're defined. They're sitting in the place of trying to do good. They're doing good because they're good more than trying to do good to become good. It's an inside-out game, and we know this because he says right here in the middle of this psalm that they have the law written on their heart. So it's an inside-out game even for them, right? So when we ask, and then we've got God, obviously, over the universe, over these people, his people. We've got the evil doers who are doing the evil. But what we want to ask really more specifically is that second question, not just the players, but what are they doing? And what they're doing specifically we can see in the passage. So if you look at let's do the wicked, the evil doers, verse 12. The wicked plots against the righteous and gnashes at him with his teeth. We don't do that much nowadays, but in their culture, gnashing was a mourning thing or an anger thing. I mean, the best I can do is the first Top Gun. It seems like Val Kilmer went one time at what's his name? Little guy, Cruz. So wicked plots and gnash their teeth. Verse 14, the wicked have drawn the sword and bent their bow. They take down the afflicted and the needy. They kill off those who are upright in conduct. In verse 20, the wicked will perish, and the enemies of the Lord will be like the glories of the pasture. The enemies of the Lord will be like the glories of the pasture. It means the flowers in the field. They're that abundant, but they're going to fade. 21, the wicked borrows and does not pay back. The wicked does not borrow. I mean, they do borrow, but they don't pay back. That's what wickedness is about. There are other small pieces. Verse 32, the wicked spies upon the righteous and seeks to kill him. Want to wipe him out. That's what the wicked are like. And he goes through here describing these people who are organized around evil. It's not Freudian. It's not that they weren't potty trained right or they didn't have gentle parenting. That, you'd affirm them just properly and they grow up right. It's like in the first one Batman movie, Penguin, poor guy, he just grew up wrong. He was mistreated, He ate fish, so he turned out bad. No, there's a thing called evil, and there are people that just embrace it. They've gone maybe to the dark side, if you like that. What exactly are the righteous doing? Well, the righteous are doing things like delight yourself in the Lord. He'll give you the desires of your heart. Verse 4. Verse 5, commit your way to the Lord. 7, rest in the Lord. They do that kind of stuff. The righteous is gracious and gives, verse 21. They're gracious and they give. The righteous also in verse 26, he's gracious and lends. Turns out even beyond it, his descendants turn out to be a blessing. There's a legacy of righteousness. He talks about a legacy of evil as well. Verse 30, the mouth of the righteous utters wisdom, and his tongue speaks justice, what's true. These righteous people are the ones going about doing the things that are good. They're making their contribution in this world. They're doing things that help and benefit others. The last one is God. What's God doing? God, in large measure, is about to do something. It's not that God's actually at work in the moment, but it's riddled with promise. And what the promise that God's going to do is he's going to right all the wrongs. That's what he's going to do. And he says it in a variety of ways as David unravels this bit of wisdom. And all work out to be instruction, so that if you take instruction like delight in the Lord, he's going to give you what your heart wants. It's going to be things like you commit to the Lord and trust in him, he's going to do it. But there are other things in here. Look at God. This God is also going to have the enemy's own sword kill them. And their bows, it says, they're shooting the good with, will be broken. This God, it says over and over in 9, evildoers will be eliminated. 20, the wicked will perish. 22, those cursed by him, God will be eliminated. God laughs at the future that's coming for them. I mean, this sounds awful, but this is also what justice is about. Again, it's why we're glad at the end of the movie, the bad guy, they made him bad enough, gets it. And all your mistreatments and all that's happened to you, you have this God who in the future has promised that he is going to deal with the evil. Wrongdoers will altogether be destroyed, verse 38. the future of the wicked will be eliminated. Verse 38. But the salvation of the righteous from the Lord, it's all future except one verse that I can find. Look at verse 24. When he falls, talking about the righteous, he will not be hurled down, because the Lord is the one who holds his hand. That's present tense. He holds his hand. So I have this weird thing in my life. So I'm going to Zambia in a few weeks, and I've been to Uganda many times. And the guys over there all hold hands, walk down the road. Okay, so that was a thing for me. I have other situations where I've held kids' hands and all, and it's like weird, like no. I discovered this mostly with my firstborn son, Trip, who around 5, he kept wanting to hug and hold my hand, etc. And I didn't know what to do. I got so desperate, I called Mother. I said, what happened at 5 years old with hugging and shaking hands and holding hands? He said, oh, your dad. He totally was against that. He would not let y'all hug. You had to shake hands and say, yes, sir, at the age of 5. He was afraid you'd grow up effeminate or something. Now, Dad didn't care about any of that. He just wanted us macho. He didn't care if we were gay, straight, anything. He just wanted us to be tough kind, whatever that was. He had his issues. I couldn't play piano because it was a girl's thing. And, it hadn't affected me at all in life, Me and the penguin, right? What I told Tripp was, I said, you're going to have to help me through it. Now I have a grandson, 6-year-old, that loves to hold my hand. And I notice it, but I love to hold his too. And when a little toddler in the picture is more like, you can do this, you can walk them through the woods, through anything, you can hold their hand because you're, assuming their joints are good. But you can guide them, and that's it. God in the present will hold your hand, but it's going to be as you embrace this passage. Now here's the refinement. The refinement on this story we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me finish up. So we know who's in it. The evil, that's them. The righteous, we're going to pretend that's you, and God, right? And so we have these 3 players. We know what they're doing. God's going to right all the wrongs. He's going to smote the wicked. He's going to bless the righteous. And in the meantime, he's going to hold your hand as you hang in there and trust him. That's the story. What's the point? The point is that when you get bitter and angry and upset and get focused on that stuff, you have stepped out of your job into God's job. Everybody's got jobs on this planet. You've been given something to do, to contribute to others, your work, not just physical work, but your stuff on this planet. You need to do that and let God do his part, and then let other people do their part. But what we do is we get all confused, and we just think, man, if we could just kill all those people on that side, we'd have it made. Or that side. Right, we'd have it made. David's way away from that sort of thing. So, Psalm 37, verses 1 to 9, tell you the whole psalm. If you master 1 to 9, you get the rest of it because it's reiteration and spelling out what you need to know. So look with me very quickly. We're looking for you, or them, you, and God, okay? Them, you, and God, and it's going to make sense of it. Do not get upset because of evildoers, verse 1. Do not be envious of wrongdoers. We're going to see what the ESV said. So verse 1, do not be upset because of evildoers. Do not be envious of wrongdoers. For they will wither quickly like the grass. So it's like you're wasting your time to actually be upset about people who are against you, people who are enemies, people who are mistreating you, or people even you care about. Hey, can you do something? Sure. That's another lesson, okay? Right now, it's focused on us getting out of the business of destroying our inner life because we want, hey, that worked, vengeance now. They're going to wither. They're going to go like the grass in your yard next month. Verse 3, trust in the Lord and do good. Live in the land, cultivate faithfulness. So we have the righteous is to trust. The righteous is to be faithful. Verse 4, delight in the Lord. The righteous is to be faithful. God's role is he's there. You're directing it to him. And then he, God, will give. So your role, delight in the Lord, verse 4, and he will give the desires of your heart. Some reason people seem to think this is make your heart want to desire, and I guess psychologically that's right. But I'm pretty sure he's saying he's going to give you what you want. Because I think we know all the way what we want is we want to succeed. I mean, there was a book when I was a kid called Why Do Good Things Happen? Why do bad things happen to good people, right? Why do bad things happen? There's a problem of evil and how you figure that out. Somebody needs to write the book, and this would be the basis. Why do good things happen to bad people? Why do they succeed? Why did I have friends growing up who would irresponsibly wreck a car, probably drinking or high, it was the 70s, and then get a new car 2 days later? What was that about? Dad would have put me on a banned from driving list until I was 60, somehow. Not fair. When you look at this passage and continue through it, we pick up in verse 6. He, God's role, will bring out your righteousness as the light, your judgment as the noonday, your judgment, going back to verse 30. The mouth of righteous utters wisdom. His tongue speaks justice or truth, so that you say things that are helpful, that build up, that contribute. He'll do that as you commit your way, trust, delight in him. Verse 7, you rest in the Lord. That's your role. And the Lord, and wait patiently for him. That's your role. And don't get upset, your role. And cease from anger, verse 8, your role. And abandon wrath, your role. For evildoers will be eliminated, their role, or what happens to them, God's role on them. But those who wait for the Lord are going to inherit blessing, the land, in the Jewish obvious context. That is this story. And when you understand that, you can just dash through me, like, just dash, what's this? Now that you know you, them, him, he rights all the wrongs. Yet a little while the wicked person will be no more. Verse 10. You'll look carefully for his place. He won't be there. But the humble will inherit the land. They'll delight themselves in the abundance of prosperity. It's like you could say payday someday, right? The wicked plots against the righteous, verse 12, gnashes at him with his teeth. The Lord laughs at him, for he sees his day coming. God looks ahead. The wicked have drawn their sword and bent their bow, taken down the afflicted and the needy, kill off those who are upright in conduct. Their sword will enter their own heart, and their bows will be broken. They want to do destruction. God's going to stop them. Better is the little of the righteous than the abundance of many wicked. The arms of the wicked will be broken, but the Lord sustains the righteous, the humble, the ones who do right. Verse 18, the Lord knows the days of the blameless. Their inheritance will be forever. They will not be ashamed in a time of evil, and in the days of famine they will have plenty. But the wicked, they're going to perish. And the enemies of the Lord will be like all the flowers in a pasture. They'll vanish like smoke. The wicked borrows, doesn't pay back. Righteous is gracious and gives. Those who blessed by him will inherit the land. Those cursed by him will be eliminated. That's the game. And it continues. Steps are established by the Lord. God, delights in your way when you walk in these steps. He delights in that. He's not unjust. He's going to right all the wrongs. Just maybe not today. When he falls, he will not be hurled down because the Lord is the one who holds his hand. I've been young, now I'm old. Yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken. I don't know what's going on in your life, but you hanging there with him, you'd be the exception to the rule, and it won't happen. God will do something. David's telling his whole life he's watched this. I can tell you, I've been young and I've been older. I too have not seen this. Turn from evil, do good, you'll dwell forever. The Lord loves justice, does not abandon his godly ones. Skip to 34, wait for the Lord, keep his way, and he'll exalt you. Just wait, just watch. It's common for me, especially with like Romans 8:28, where I know God will work all things to good. When something really bad happens, I'll say to God, I can't wait to see what you do with this one, because my imagination's shot. I don't see how this is going to go well. And he's never failed to shock me. Verse 37, observe the blameless person, look at the upright, for the person of peace will have a future. But wrongdoers will altogether be destroyed. The future of the wicked will be eliminated. He ends in verse 40, the Lord helps them and rescues them. He rescues them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in him. So you shelter. I mean, this is the whole message. Trust, wait, delight, hope, shelter, all in the Lord. He's going to make it right. There's one little missing ingredient. I used to tell a story to the kids about, I'd say, okay, kids, now, here's the way it goes. It's a riddle. So I want you to pretend you're a zookeeper. And that day at the zoo, the zookeeper leaves all, hey, this will be fun. Lou will like this story. So the zookeeper leaves the door to the monkeys open. And all the monkeys get out and they get in the trash and they are throwing things at people and they're climbing trees and throwing things down and they're running around and chasing and tickling children under their arms, and it's just a chaotic mess because of the monkeys. Now here's the riddle. What color are the zookeeper's eyes? Hello? Were y'all not listening? Here, I'll tell it again. So, pretend you are a zookeeper. Right? Mine are greenish, right? I tell that because when you miss an ingredient in a problem or in a story or whatever, you can miss everything. It is very consistent and powerful. And what happens is in this passage, there's a missing key that we've all failed to notice. And it works like this. Go back to verse 7. Rest in the Lord, wait patiently for him. Do not get upset because of the one in his way, because of the person who carries out wicked schemes. And then it says in verse 8, cease from anger and abandon wrath. Cease from anger and abandon wrath. This is the instruction to you. Why? Well, why? God's going to take care of it all. But here it's more pointed. Why? Because the second part of the verse, do not get upset. It leads only to evil doing. The psalm opened, do not get upset because of evildoers. And now, by verse 8, it says, don't get upset because it leads you into evil doing. And haven't you seen these people on these extremes? I hate them so much. What am I doing? Riots and fires and there's all kinds of crazy stuff. It goes the other way too. Look, it makes you crazy and it tempts you to do evil. And if you stay upset and you don't give room for the wrath of God and you hang on to your anger and you hang on to your upset, you will start doing evil, which makes you look a lot like what? Yeah, an evildoer, a wicked, an unrighteous. This is your own protection. In verse 27, the same thing. Turn from evil and do good, so that you will dwell forever. Turn from evil and do good. This isn't rocket science. It's not even calculus. If you're not sure if it's good or evil, don't do that. Or if you're from Alabama, if you're not sure you might be caught or not, don't do that. It leads to evil doing. And that leads us to being in a place where God's got to deal with us somehow as evildoers, not as those who are seeking to do good. And I'll tell you the trick, do good regardless of the outcome. You just do the right thing because it's right. Outcomes matter. You can measure them, but if you make everything about the outcome, you'll change what you do. I kid you not, I have a friend who shared with me about they were taking psychology in college and some literature class. In the literature class, they decided to do an experiment on the professor. And the experiment was they would laugh at certain times when he said certain things, and then they would act bored when he did other things. And then they would be engaged when he stood in a certain place in the room, and then actually be bored and distracted and whatever when he was in another place. By the end of the time, by the end of the story, they had him spending every class in the corner of the room telling elephant jokes. And that's what happens to all of us when we get busy measuring what we're doing by how people feel about it. That's not our job. Our job is to do the good, the right thing. Let God take care of the rest. That's Psalm 37. It's a solution for you. Now, I've got to be honest as we close here. This does not apply to you if you don't know Christ. I mean, you can do good. I think it's smart to do. I think doing good in this life is great. I think if there's a destiny, like the Bible says, that's negative, it's like if you do good things and live a good life, that should at least get you lakefront property on the Lake of Fire, which is way better than with Hitler and Genghis Khan and Trump and Obama and whoever everybody puts down there. God's inviting you to a different destiny if you don't know him. And that destiny is one of purpose and sanity and maybe hardship and suffering, but he'll get your enemies for you. You'll like that part. But the way you get this, it's a gift, and God offers it. And the problem is you've got this thing called sin on you, things you've failed at, done. There's a holy God that has standards. He came up with a solution, and that was to put your sin on Jesus Christ. That's that death, burial, resurrection, that whole thing that we care about historically and practically, where God poured out his wrath and dealt with everything on Jesus. He went in your place, never for you. And what he invites you to do is simply to believe. Believe. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that if Fred believes in him, Fred would not perish but have eternal life. I believe God's promise. Don't know where you are. what you've thought about, what you wrestle with. But the game here in this grace of God offering you a gift is for you to say, thank you. Not trying to get cleaned up enough. Trying to come to God who can clean it all up. Today could be your day. Let's pray. Father, thank you for this moment. This opportunity to open your word, to reflect through it, to understand that you hold our hand. To understand in your kindness, in your grace, in your love, that you've extended us a guarantee that you're going to right the wrongs. And we could just start resting in that, trusting. But even before that, remembering our own day, or maybe today's the day, that we came to a place of understanding that you promised that if we believe in your Son, we'd have everlasting life. It says elsewhere, we'll pass from judgment to life. That we wouldn't be on probation with you, but we'd be yours forever. I remember so well when I finally nailed it down that I prayed to you, Lord, thank you that you died for me. You didn't have to do it. I don't know why you drew me to yourself, but I get it, and I believe it, and I thank you for that promise. Know how it made the difference. Lord, bless this time as we close in worship and in sharing communion. Pray you to be honored this day as we move forward. Let go of our anger towards others. In Christ's name we pray.